Hello and welcome back to my channel, or to my channel. Good to see you again. Today I'm going to be talking a little bit about landlords and apartment managers and these companies that seem to be owning all the rental properties in the country. One of them here is NTS, and where we live here in Louisville, Kentucky. We just got. Well, let me start this up back by saying I've lived in the same apartment complex since pretty much 1985. Not in the same apartment. Lived in a townhouse for a long time. For decades. And then as my father got older, we decided to get an apartment together and stay there in a smaller apartment without stairs and all this stuff. Didn't work for him where we ended up being. So we got an apartment 13 years ago. And everything is fine. We've been taking care of the place. We've been very good tenants. Excuse me. But over the years, the apartment complex has been bought out, resold back and forth. I mean, originally NTS owned this complex that we live in, and they sold it off, and it became owned by another company or more of an individual type. It's a smaller company back then, back in the 70s. And over the period of time, it got bought and sold. And then NTS finally got it back. And they bought our apartment complex. They bought another complex next to us and another one even farther on the other side, and they bought more around our area. And they pretty much have a stranglehold on my entire area. So whatever their rules they make for one, they make it for all of them. One thing they did is recently, a couple of years ago, was they banned smoking. So even in your own apartment complex, your own apartment, you can't smoke. Oddly, you can go out on the porch, but you can't smoke in your own apartment. And people have been doing that for years and years and years. And they blamed it on all sorts of things. Oh, we'll start a fire. I've lived here long enough to know the only fires in our complex have been caused by people leaving stuff on the stove and from wiring issues. So, back to the apartment. Well, we got the apartment 13 years ago. My father and myself, in his beginning, he wasn't really declining yet, but he had Alzheimer's. And he was very active. This was before COVID. But anyway, we got in the apartment. We've lived here. We've taken care of it. But this recent lease that they sent us for a renewal sort of shocked me. They raised our rent by $200. Here's what they said. $200, or you can move into one of our other floor plans of the same type in our new renovated apartment, and we'll leave your rent the same as it is now. But if you decide to stay, you can only stay for no more than 10 months, a lease of 10 months. And after that, you have to leave. Wasn't that a nice way to do to do that? So out of the blue, they just 3 months before our expiration, this is what they threw at us. And we were not expecting this at all. So I talked to the office and asked what's going on. And they said they need to get in and renovate our place. And they, it's more than just renovating. They have to get in and want to check on structural this and that. And that makes no sense to me, because if they wanted to do that, if they needed to do that, they wouldn't have offered us a 10-month lease for $200 more. They would have asked us to move to a different place. They would have fixed whatever they needed to fix, and then we moved back into place. If they were being honest about this. But what they want to do is, since our apartment is right next to the display apartment, the show apartment, and it's really good. It's got a view out the back porch, this nice walkway, grass areas and all that. And they want us to move to an apartment on the other side of the building where the view is of a parking lot on all sides. So not just out the windows. You're not going to see the nice grass and the trees and the kids out there playing. You're going to be seeing cars in a parking lot. And so, but we have no recourse on that. They can do this. And the thing is, we've lived here for almost 40 years in this complex. And they don't care, because companies like NTS, they don't care who you are. They don't care how long you've been there. They just want their rent. They want it now. And when they decide they want our place back, because it's a nice place, visually, it has a larger porch than anybody else. They want to take it back, renovate it, rent it out for more money, and then stick us in another place facing a parking lot. I lived in a townhouse for over 30 years, about 30 years. And never did they need to come in and do structural anything. There's some of crap about that. What they were doing was, back in that day, they were raising all the rents of the townhouses. After NTS bought this back, all of a sudden the rents went through the roof. And all of a sudden, we used to pay for garbage, the garbage pickup, those dumpsters where you go and put stuff in. They had them all over the place. And then they made it into a one trash compactor on the other side of the thing. And all of a sudden, instead of paying $5 a month, we're suddenly paying $12. And then after that, we moved into the other apartment. They started a concierge service, which you cannot opt out of. That's $25 a month. That's where you have to use their can and put one can outside of your door, Monday, Sunday through Friday, and they'll pick up. But it's got to be in their can. It's got to be in a bag. It's got to be all that. And that's $25. So that's up from $4. And of course, they charge $4 per lease to get the data from the bills from a building. If you have a electric or gas and water and all that, they get per building, break it down to the units in it, and then bill it out to you, each year, whatever your share is. And they charge $4 for that. Now that's $4 from me, my next door neighbor, the two people on the other side, and the two people upstairs, or the two families upstairs. So, and think about that across a very big complex of hundreds and hundreds of units. $4. They're making bank on that, you know that. Then all of a sudden we start having to sign up for petscreening.com. If you don't have the pets, you still have to register and give them your information. And every year say yes, no, whatever. Another thing NTS did was they got tired of repairing privacy fences in front of around the people's porches, and they tore those up and got rid of those, all of them. So everybody on the bottom floors don't have any privacy fences anymore. And once they stopped that, they got rid of those, people stopped using their porches like they used to. I mean, you wanted privacy in your own deal. You want to go out there sunbathe, you can't do it. If you want to go out there and have plants and all this, you can't do it. If you want to put expensive stuff out there, it can get stolen or whatever. Then they start also putting out these rules of you can't put this and that on your porch. You can't put your shoes out there. You can't put a certain kind of table. You can't have a flag. A lot of things you couldn't do once NTS started throwing their weight around. Because they know they've got us. Once you're in an apartment, you're stuck. It's very hard to find someplace else, especially after COVID, because before COVID, rent increases were about 3.5% to 5% at most every year, and right after we got out of the lockdown, it was 10, 11 to 15% increases, and they're blaming that on all this stuff. So my increase this year on the lease is, I think they're sort of trying to push me to move now. That's why it's higher. It's over 14%. And what nasty people are them? Because they know we've been here a long time. We've been great tenants. They know we're older on a fixed income and that my dad has dementia. They know this, but they want our apartment. And they don't care about us at all or how long we've been here. Because to them, we're strangers. They don't know us from anything. And the people in the office can pretend like they care, but you can hear it in their voice. They don't care. They don't care at all. But that's what happens when you go from a local owner or company to a company that owns not just your apartment complex, but many. And then it becomes a whole different thing. They're property management companies, they're all this and that, and they don't care about us at all. They just want to get they want to get blood from the stone. They want to throw out rules. Well, we want our place to look pristine. You can't have a window fan unit. You can't do this. You can't do that. You can't put your children's toys on your own porch. Or the American flag on a national holiday. And they're getting away with this. And these companies are being allowed to buy up. They've already done it. Buy up not just apartment complexes. So we have no choice. We have no options. We can't go. We would go to the next apartment complex over. It's still the same owner. And go through the same thing. And the same rules and the same bullshit. But they're also buying up rental homes or homes that can be rental property. And you think that people are having a hard time finding affordable housing? That's because these people are buying up the affordable housing and turning that into rental property too, or selling it on for a higher price. Talk about flippers. And so these people want our apartment, and they're bullying us to do it. We could tell, like I said, with that 10-month lease at $200 more, because it's that or move over to someplace else. And one of the selling points of transferring to a different apartment, which I still have to go through all the paperwork. Don't have to pay the fees, but we still have to go through all the approval paperwork. Again, we've been here for 40 years. Might require other things too. They want us. They're using that $200 as, well, I'm going to have to get a moving company to move us over to a new place. And they said, well, you're going to be saving $200 a month. Like I have that in my pocket right now. I don't have a flexible bank account. So I'll save $200. I'll save the $200, but I'll be paying that out to probably a moving company. And so I'm not saving anything. If I stay here at the apartment now, so we can keep our address, that's only going to be for 10 months. And then since they're added, they threw that $200 on top of our rent. They know if you decide to pick it, you're weighing your option about moving someplace else. They're stopping you from saving enough to get a new place. What scammers? This is what we're going through in this country now, and we're allowing to happen. And our government, and our governors, and our city elects, and our mayors are allowing to happen. Allowing these people to buy up all the property and set one rule. And it's just a terrible thing, especially, like I said, when you're a long-term tenant and you've got somebody in your home with dementia or they're sick, and, they might not have that much longer to go. They put that stress on top of you. Because, like I said, I got to go through all the hoops and jumps, and if you're on a certain kind of medical or government assistance of some type, once you put in a change of address, you have to reapply. They take you moving as basically a reapplication. And so, as a family caregiver who's been living in this for years, I didn't need that stress on top of the other stress I've got. And to be treated so disrespectfully, with such a lack of consideration or concern, because the office, the management knows what we go through, and we're good tenants, and we never bother anybody, and we keep our place clean, and we don't complain too much. But loyalty means nothing in this new day and age, and unless there's some kind of rent control, we're at their mercy. So if you ever get a house and buy a house, keep it. Never get back into this rental market, because they hold all the cards. And once you're moved in and spent all the money to move there, and the deposit and all this, and the moving costs, and then your new lease comes up at the end of the year and they jacked it up real high. They didn't jack it up so high that it's going to be worth it to move, but so much that you probably can't afford to. And that's the reality we're living under. and I think we need to do something about it. I'd like to hear some comments from folks. What's your story? What's going on with you? Have you gone through this too? And what do you do about it? Anyway, thanks for visiting my channel, and I'll see you again at another time.